Hey there, it's Alka.
And Jen, and welcome to another episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. And today we are talking about 5 reasons why people don't start an online business.
Yeah, it's such a thing that people talk about these days in terms of, a side hustle or making extra income, making sure that you have some other income coming in case something happens with your job, especially with COVID that over the last 2 years, things are a lot more uncertain than one would have ever expected. And it's more a matter of making enough money now in case there's some problem later, right? Like either you want to retire early or you get sick, or like there's so many reasons why an online business may be the option, or like any other side hustle, but everyone's turning online, right? Because that makes sense with COVID. We're all stuck at home. We want to do something online, which is still our option to connect to the world. But yet there's so many reasons why people don't. And you would think that everybody would have one of these online businesses by now, right?
Yeah.
And we we work on a platform called Zazzle, and we've created an online business for ourselves, each of us, starting back in 2008. And that's when the housing recession was on in the States. And that was actually the beginning of online e-commerce, and everyone thought we were absolutely crazy because we were trying to get this online business, Zazzle, to work for us so that we could make money, not just as a side hustle, but as a full-time money earning opportunity, because I wanted to stay home with my kids and Jen wanted to go travel the world, which we ended up doing because we made it a success. However, now we're in the same boat. We've had 2 years of COVID. We're probably going into a recession, and we're kind of like at like the same place where Jen and I were when, like now that you're starting to think, oh, maybe I should have some other income, but maybe don't even look at it as other income. Maybe just look at it as another option, which may even turn into your full-time income. And so how do you build a business, or why is it that you haven't made that decision to create a business? Now, obviously, if you're one of our community members, thank you so much for all of your loyal following. And then you're probably already on Zazzle, which is our platform that we love. But let's say that someone came to this podcast and saw this episode and they go like, ooh, this is an interesting topic. So welcome. If you're the first-time viewers or first-time listeners, Jen and I love talking about what we've done in our past to make our lives more successful and our lives more fun, because we get to play, not work as hard. And now we actually teach and coach and mentor other people around the world to do the same.
Yeah.
But it gets back down to when we first started, and when people told us, like, you want to start an online business? Are you nuts? Right? Yeah. And so we should actually put that as like a bonus one, because being afraid of what other people say, right, is also an issue, because you want to try this, you hear other people are doing really well, but then you get stuck because people around you are like thinking you've lost your mind, or it's never going to work, and so they put the most pressure on you. But what we want to do is we want to take these 5 reasons why people don't start a business, and we want to help you get through them, because maybe they resonate with you. And if you just heard this podcast and listened to all the things we talk about with the 5 key pieces that do stop people, maybe you'll realize, well, maybe it's not really a true reason to not try this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So lead us away. Let's do the first one.
All right. Well, the first one is that people don't know that Zazzle is an option. Zazzle is an extremely huge platform online, international, and many people know about it, but a lot of people also don't know about it. And this is the platform that we've been working on for the past 14 years, where we have made money passively, and then now we teach people how to make money online with this platform. And it's just, people just don't know that it's an option to do anything, right? When you're looking online, and we've done a couple of podcasts before where you talk about, or we talk about Shopify and then Etsy and then other POD platforms or other
KDP Publishing,
online money making schemes,
Amazon, and like all of these other online businesses. Right?
Yeah. So people just don't know that it's an option, which is, let's say, really unfortunate because for us, it's actually the best platform that we've found that works for us and has had the most benefits, right?
Yeah, it's changed our lives literally. Yeah. So, and then we can take it one step further and say, okay, for anyone who, like we're talking specifically as Zazzle being an option for you to create an online business, but you can also just say, like most people when they go like, oh, I have to start a business, they're actually thinking more like, oh, well, then I have to do brick and mortar, or I like have to open up a store, or I have to sell at craft fairs, or I have to, get business through contract work, or like anything where you're doing a service for someone else, whether it's online or offline, but people don't think of this e-commerce space as an option, right? Yeah, because people just think of these e-commerce spaces as places where you go shop.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 2.
You're not sure what business to choose.
Yeah, well, if you just Google in like how to make money online, oh my gosh, you get so many things. I think I saw one article where it said 50 ways to make money online. It's like, that's just too much.
It's a bit overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah, and so everything and anything. And when you read these articles, they have like a little paragraph there, and then they just go like, oh, start this, here's the link, and oh, it's really, you can make this much money doing it, and here, like, and so, but then they like get you all excited, but then they leave you hanging, right? And you go like, well, you have so many other questions, and so in the end you just go like, wow, every one of these sounds amazing, but every one of these also sounds like way too hard, or is it going to work, or so many things that leave you questioning and more so paralyzed, right?
Well, even though like it's not too hard, it's just like, even if you resonate like with it, is that for me, or can I do it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's actually no, actually, it's the 4th one, right? We can, make. We'll talk about that a little bit more in terms of that, how it resonates. Because how do you know it resonates with you if you have absolutely no idea what it's all about, right? Yeah. So okay, so that brings us into number 3, which is it's hard to start something new and unknown. We're reading our list here, and so starting something new and unknown. So the two of them together, first of all, you don't know anything about it. So how can you know if it's going to work, right? If you say, oh, I want to become a basketball player, you maybe watch sports, maybe you played basketball in high school, and all kinds of examples of where you are kind of already familiar with stuff. But if someone all of a sudden says, open up a Shopify store, or like with us, let's do Zazzle, and we're all excited, but you are like apprehensive because you go like, well, it worked for them, but what skills do I need? How do I start this? How long is it going to take? And I have to completely change my habits because all of a sudden I've got to do this thing that's like deer in headlights, new stuff. So everything's coming at you. You have to set up this, you have to do this, you have to market here, you have to create designs, you have to do this. And so at that point, if I was someone new that you were telling me all of this about, I would just go like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that is really a true thing. And instead of moving forward and saying, okay, well, it's new, but look, there's people there to help, other people have done it, we get stuck in paralysis rather than let's give this a try. It's not instinctually what most people would do, right?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments, like if you're ever, we're always here. We put our Instagram handles on every one of our podcasts in the show notes and also in the description on the podcast platform. So we always want to hear from you. And this episode especially is where we want to hear from you, because I'm sure that one of these has resonated with you. And what we want you to know is we're here to say, if we wouldn't have overcome our fears and all of these pieces that we're talking about here, reasons, we wouldn't be sitting here today, right? Yeah. We would be still well, you would be at a 9-to-5 job. I would be at a 9-to-5 job. We would have never had all these adventures. Jen, what did you do for 10 years?
I was living in Spain for 10 years because I was able to work online and make money passively on Zazzle. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at that big smile. If you're watching this on YouTube, then yeah, the smile just came up because it was amazing. It was like fabulous. It was like, you get to do what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was because of an online business, right? But had she not started that, had she been scared to do that or shied away from it because it was new, or you're not sure if it would work for her, then, which isn't point number 4, and had doubts, then it would have never allowed her to have that lifestyle. Okay, so number 4 is doubts as to whether the business will work. So that's a really good point, and that sits more with me as a logical person, because I want to make sure that if I'm going to put this time and effort in, I'm going to get out of it what I put in, right? And more. And so as in life, there are no guarantees, but there's stacked probability against or for this working, right? So if you pick something and that... a really good example is anyone who's listening to this who originally wrote articles for Squiddo, which then got shut down. I don't know if it's called Squiddo or Squiddo, but there was this place where you could get paid for writing articles. And I was actually pretty good at it, and I got paid. But then it just shut down one day, right? It's like, sorry, we're closing this down. And it's like, holy smokes, I just wrote for 2 years articles, 2 years of work gone. Right? And no longer any sort of income source from that or any compensation because they shut down. So yeah, you definitely want to have a business that is going to be long-term, that works for others, and that when you get there and try the business, that something is there to like help you move forward, like a plan that is proven, so that you can definitely have the best chances possible of making it work for you, even though there are no guarantees, right?
Yeah.
All right, number 5.
Imposter syndrome, not feeling like you are actually being the person that you are, right?
Yeah, and then you could do it, right? That you have the skills. And so, but yeah, you want to take that? Sorry.
Oh, well, you go for it if you want. Yeah.
I never even knew that imposter syndrome was a thing at one point. Did you?
I didn't know either. And it was more so that just you felt like, well, when I first learned about it, it was kind of... where someone said, hey, imposter syndrome isn't actually a thing. And for me, it didn't actually resonate until the fact that like someone else explained it to me. It's just that you feel like you're not able to actually do something because or you're being like a fake person and you're not actually living up to the standards that you should be, right? And if you are somebody who gives value and service and etc. to people, then you should feel valuable in your own self, and then also, capable of doing things. And then, but imposter syndrome makes you feel like you're kind of just doing it and you're not, it's not real, and you're being fake. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's usually it happens when you're starting something new, right? You're literally doing it, and you're doing it, but because it's new, you don't feel like you're qualified to do it, or that you've got the proof that you're doing it well, or that it's mainly that, because why should someone buy something from me if you're on the Zazzle platform? That's a really good example of imposter syndrome. Or how is it that I could compete with someone else? And so imposter syndrome can even move into the first couple of times where you sell something on the Zazzle platform and you go, well, why did they buy from me, right? What is it that they see about my product or design that ended up being the reason they bought? And so we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, saying that we're not good enough and that the skills aren't there, and we're faking it. But we're not, because we just sold a product and we did the work. But it's just new, and so therefore it feels like we shouldn't be rewarded for it almost, right?
Yeah. No, definitely.
And or you can take it like if that's while and during you're running your business, but it also stops you from starting your business because you go like, well, I don't have the skills, I don't have this, I don't have that, and how could it possibly be that I can do this? And one of the things that we love talking about are two people that actually are our top earners in our program, in our coaching program, the Profit by Design Academy, where they tried on their own, didn't have the skill sets, weren't creative, had everything stacked against them because they didn't have like a lot of time or effort, time to do things. And now they're actually our top earners. And why? Because they initially didn't think that they could do it, right? They didn't think that they had imposter syndrome in a way, because it's like, oh, well, I do this, so why would I do this, right? Like their day jobs are so different than their ability, like what they're doing now on the Zazzle platform to generate that extra, that lifetime earnings that they've achieved, which is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so that was kind of a cool process to go through with coaching, to help these people go like, yes, you can. And I go like, no, you can't, or no, I can't because XYZ. I don't have, what Jen was saying. And in the end, you do. You just need the people to support you, the system and the proven roadmap, and then you need your own belief, right? Like people can believe in you, like your coaches, like we did, but ultimately they have to decide that they think it's possible for them, and that's how you switch out imposter syndrome, right? It doesn't even show up if you believe.
Yeah. No.
So that's the way we're going to end this episode, because I think that's like a very powerful message, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, well, thanks so much for listening or watching. And listen, if you have any of these, we want to hear from you, because maybe there's a whole other future for you that isn't even apparent to you because you've held yourself back because of whether or not whether it's an option for you, if you are not sure what business to choose, if it's too hard for you to start something new because it's not comfortable for you and you don't know anything about it, if you have doubts as to whether the business will work, or if you have what's called imposter syndrome. So I want you to switch all those around and realize it's possible for you, believe in yourself, and then get the help you need, and who knows what's going to happen. You may have an incredible online business that we've spurred you on to start, and it'll forever change your life.
Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for listening to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur podcast, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.